Stamattina mi sono alzato, oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Stamattina mi sono alzato e ho trovato l'invaso. Oh partigiano, portami via, oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Partigiano, portami via, che mi sento di morire.
Tomorrow, can I get some hands up in the air?
The company we chose was La Michoacana, a Mexican brand dedicated to selling mainly natural ice cream and popsicles for more than 80 years with more than 120 different flavors. The estimation of stores is between 8 to 15,000 places, but not a single one operates as a franchise. In spite of their extension across Mexico, US, and other Central American countries, they have not reached a scalable organizational model. Their value proposition is still the same, and they have not innovated in their operational model.
The four attributes we choose are experimentation, autonomy, algorithms, and leverage assets. Experimentation is the activity of validating assumptions and constantly tracking new ideas with controlled risks. This practice might help La Michoacana to develop a line extension, for example, including salty snacks. As La Michoacana is the biggest traditional ice cream shop and it is in the top of mind of the Mexican population, we consider that exploring other verticals would represent a considerable growth in the business. In order to validate this new idea, they would need to experiment in different regions and consumer profiles so they can ensure that this innovation would be accepted by the majority of the customers before making a significant investment. Autonomy in an organization can be defined as self-organizing and multidisciplinary teams operating with decentralized authority. We chose this attribute because La Michoacana has a business model that depends on franchise operations. By implementing the autonomy attribute, this company can better distribute their control and authority over the business units. Also, they can increase their flexibility and can develop a clear separation between people, relationships, roles, and partners. We assume that this attribute will help the natural development, evolution, and movement on the company. The third attribute we chose is algorithms, which are critical assets for any organization committed to exponential growth. They help in simplifying processes, increase productivity, prevent the possibility of being consumed by competitors, understand and predict customer behaviors, and finally make more informed decisions. This is why we think Grupo La Michoacana should implement a system that allows the company to know better which existing flavors are more popular in the market, which new flavors can be released, how do weekend holidays affect sales, how long do orders take, all of the above in order to provide the right product to the right consumer at the right time. The last of the attributes that we took for La Michoacana is leverage assets. We chose this attribute because all of our recommendations are based on obtaining and analyzing information, so we need to lease IT hardware and software to ensure that La Michoacana can obtain, store, and process the data that we need to consolidate the brand as an ExO company. It is important for this brand because there is no previous investigation or data analytics that can be studied to ensure which location is correct to open a new store, flavors liked by the region, or even weather.
And I am going to talk about what the resources we need to implement the four attributes. The first one is the experimentation, a market research of consumptions and buying behaviors regarding snacks within different regions will help to understand customer preference about salty snacks. About the autonomy, from our perspective, implementation the attribute of autonomy is not difficult. To initiate the process, Grupo Michoacana needs to deploy a project management platform which fits the requirement of company. This platform will allow Grupo Michoacana to control and operate its business in a decentralized way. Furthermore, the company should hire self-starting employees and people with different profiles to create diverse teams. Finally, it is important to use dashboard and MTPs. About the algorithms, the main resource already exists, the data, that can be obtained through market trends, everyday sales in units, flavors, and amounts. Also, we need a system that supports that we want to achieve, which can be Google Analytics or Power BI by Microsoft. And the last of the assets is liberal assets. We recommend to implement an entire investment in technology to obtain data information and create data analytics. In liberal assets, they can leasing servers, cloud storage, and thin client terminal for each franchise to manage the information and create a big database to be analyzed.
How is the implementation process and which challenges and risks can we face? Regarding experimentations, once we have the insights from the market research regarding consumer habits, it would be needed to include at least 5 points of sales of La Michoacana salty snacks to track their rotation, pricing, and consumers' perception. This will be needed to be implemented in at least 3 geographical regions. Concerning autonomy, the first step to implement the attribute is to find a management software that fits the needs of Grupo La Michoacana. Then the top team of the company should share the new way of team working, choose empowered and proactive employees on the front line, and create teams based on projects and goals. Generally, traditional companies hire people who work through a hierarchical work model. Changing the way these people think and work is a difficult challenge. Also, giving autonomy to people who don't work without visible authority can decrease team productivity. Concerning algorithms, the first step is to analyze the data that La Michoacana has to know and what processes need to be done, such as gathering, organizing, and programming it in the system. We can identify some risks and challenges through these implementations, such as unorganized data, money restriction, low retention of historic data, and information depth. Finally, regarding leverage assets, the first step is to create alliances with producers of HW and SW in order to quote directly with the manufacturer to avoid resellers. And finally, the company should implement a consulting in order to get a clean billing of materials to get only the material needed and not pay storage or cloud that won't be needed.
By implementing these attributes, Grupo La Michoacana can start the process of turning into an exponential organization because of 4 reasons. The company can democratize and decentralize the way of working and operating. 2. The decision making can be based on data analytics. 3. The stores of Grupo La Michoacana can be easily moved according to results and sales of products. And last but not least, a scalable and replicable model can be developed different locations or scenarios.